this morning for 10 minutes morning calm. And I hope you had a great, just a little bit, hope you had a great weekend and, got a great week ahead. And today we're going to take a look at is the idea of the importance of the imperfect start. And I imagine many of us get hung up on this idea that all the conditions need to be in place for us to start. And whatever that is, whatever that might be, I need to have X, Y, and Z, then I can get going. And that can lead to an obvious paralysis by analysis. And really, I think what God really asks of us is like to embrace the imperfect start. Imperfect starts are beautiful because of this, because they're a start. And we need to both see that in ourselves and see that in other people and just get like, it's okay that it's not perfect, because the idea of them just moving forward, that's what really matters. I think years ago, just a simple example to set the context for what I want to share. Years ago, my youngest daughter really wanted to go down and do something for homeless people, and she wanted to bring down like some money and give some money, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, well, wait a minute, we should make sure, and how do we know not spending money on drugs and blah, 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 blah. And there's a time for that conversation. I want to be clear. There's absolutely a time for that conversation. But this is a little girl who just wants to give money to people she thinks are struggling, and to think, and she believes that will help them. And I'm sure it did. That's the example of like an imperfect quote unquote start. And it's better than not doing anything. I think a lot of the time we think in our practice of charity or our practice of service that I have to somehow have it all aligned and then I'll finally know exactly what to do. No, you do it and then you'll figure out how to do it better the next time. And that's the learning process I think God really asks us to think about. So does the Bible have stories about that? Absolutely. From a Christian New Church perspective, we read the Bible. Many stories of the Bible is this beautiful sort of metaphor. And one of the beautiful metaphors of that is this particular part of the story of Noah and the ark. And in this part, again, the ark's come to a rest, and he's starting to do some scouting missions. So his first scouting mission for Noah is he opens the window, lets out a raven. Raven flies back and forth. And we talked about that as anxiety. First things come to a rest, and then, it's like it's an anxiety. We're getting a sense of being grounded, but there's still a lot of anxiety. Just flies back and forth, no place to land. But the doves here are different. And notice the contrast in the birds, the raven to the dove, pretty big contrast. And with the dove, we're going to see Noah's going to release 3 of them, 3 different times. And it's a beautiful, we would hold it as something to consider, as this beautiful, beautiful poetic piece of just this way of we start to get it. We start to get little pieces. And we're just trying to find greater truth, or trying to find that real ground, that real fertile ground. And we just keep on releasing, and seeing what happens. And the first steps are obviously imperfect, which is what we're talking about here. And this is the Bible quote, and then I'll read you something from the book Secrets of Heaven. Genesis 8, verse 9. And the dove did not find a resting place for the sole of its foot. And it returned to Noah in the ark, because there was still water over the face of the earth. And Noah put out his hand, took it in, and brought it unto himself. What it goes on to say about this time is that imagine that at this time, we imagine we're doing good deeds, serving and thinking true thoughts under our own power, because we still cannot see clearly at all. And the Lord lets us see it this way. So what does that mean? That's where we believe we are really in charge, and we are really doing it. And we are really, really going in and making these decisions and making it right. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a beautiful first step. I should actually post this. There's a beautiful TED Talk, really, really funny TED Talk about this Italian guy, works for an NGO, non-government organization. And he goes down, and he's in charge of this part of this certain village, and they're farming, and he's going to tell them how to do it. And he's an Italian guy, so obviously he wants to fears all these Italian vegetables. So he goes down and he grows these tomatoes, and the guy's a stitch, and he grows these tomatoes. These tomatoes are huge, and they're so fertile. I mean, the soil's fertile. It's right by a river, and they grow and they grow and they grow, and it's really something amazing. And he's feeling all kinds of hubris around that. And then a herd of hippos that's on the move comes through in one night and destroys the whole thing. And the villagers are told him, like, well, that's what they do. That's what the hippos do. And it's just interesting, right? Because he really felt like here he was coming in, he's going to help these people, da 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 da. And what he discovers is there was this indigenous knowledge that he had too much hubris to hear, believing that he was the expert and they were not. That is such a beautiful story. And we do that all the time where we come in and we know we're going to tell the person, we know this is what needs to be done. And really what we need to get is that that's part of the journey, and it's a beautiful imperfect part. And I love the idea that the dove flies back and forth and then comes back to no. And I feel like that's what we do. We send out something good, and there's a little bit of a not selfishness. I wouldn't say selfishness. There's a little bit too much of self in it still for it to actually be free. And God blesses it, folks. I mean, I can't say this enough. Like, this stuff is not in the story as prescribing punishment, sort of crime and punishment. It's in the story because it's describing what we do. This is what human beings do. This is part of the journey, and embrace it. So today, what I would ask of you is just embrace the imperfect start. Just try. It'll be imperfect. It'll be funky. It'll look strange. It may even act a little wonky, but you know what? It's good stuff. It's beautiful stuff. And I feel that's what we can really start to do in our lives. We can start to embrace those forms of imperfection, and just know that's part of the journey. And remember, first step, folks, first step, as God always says, the first step is always the hardest. So have a good day with your imperfect steps. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little little prayer, little meditation, little prayer, a little blessing, and we'll say hi to folks on social media. So good to have you folks here with me today. So with that, friends, let's get a little breath. Let's listen to the prayer bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little little note here. All right. Again, I hope you all had wonderful weekends, friends. I certainly did. It was beautiful out here. All right. Lots of comments today. Let me just turn off my volume here. All right. Okay. So, Kim, good morning to you, Kim, and I hope you're doing well. Linda, most good morning to you, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Paige, you always bring a smile to my face. I hope you have a great week as well. Sue, great to see you joining us this morning, as well as you, Sherry, and you, Marcus. Joy writes, so good, have a great day. Yeah, and it's the Joy, it's one of the interesting quotes in Christian New Church theology is that an animal's perfection is its imperfection. For a human being, our imperfection is actually our perfection, which I kind of like. I love that idea. That's pretty cool thought. Jean writes, good morning and good morning to you. Mary writes, listening to this at first, I thought, yeah, those know-it-alls are annoying. Then I heard, oh, you're talking to me. Yeah, Mary, right? Like we're all resident experts, right? And that's where I always have to remind myself, like, ask a question before a statement. I mean, just that simple thing of flipping questions and statements can be very, very helpful. All right, dear friends, I hope that all makes sense. And I hope you have a great, great, great week ahead. And, embrace a little imperfection today. Take care. Bye-bye.